What is up, everyone? Matt here with CryptoBlick. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. Today I'm going to show you how to set up a 6700 XT ETH mining rig. And if that sounds good to you, let's hop in and let's make it happen. And before we get into the weeds here on the ETH mining rig, I do want to say right off the bat, I am not a professional miner, all right? Keep that in mind. Everything that I've learned from channels like Mining Chamber, also Red Fox Crypto, and Red Panda Mining, and even Voscoin. So those are a couple of channels I highly recommend you guys checking out to do your own research when you go to build your own rig. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's hop in, let's start building this rig, and we'll go from there. All right, so as you can see here, I've got my rig set up already. I've got everything put together there. I've got my 5 GPUs. I will have a 6th here, but I just wanted to put 5 on just to show you what I have right now for the rig. I've got my other gear here. I have my motherboard here. I've got my SSD, and then I also have my processor, fans, my PSU here, and then of course my GPU risers, which I highly recommend. I've already built one rig and they have been fantastic here in terms of your risers. So anyways, with that quick introduction here, let's go ahead and set up the motherboard onto the rig here. So that will be the first step. We'll screw that in and we'll go from there. All right, so we're gonna put the processor in right there. So this is how it comes in the box. With the CPU fan here. You're going to take this up, you're going to lift it up, make sure you have no static, and then there's little notches here, if you can see. Right there in the corners, there's going to be notches. It's going to fit right in place. Just like so. You make sure that this metal bracket here, let me show you here. As you can see, there's a metal bracket right down there. You want to make sure that is under your bolt, your screw. You're then going to bring this forward. That plastic piece is going to fall off, and then you're going to put that back in place. There we go. It is in position. And now we're going to put our CPU fan on top. Give me a second here. I'm going to place this. We'll go from there. So I went ahead and put the motherboard on a towel just so that I was more at ease of having it on a softer surface as we were working on this. And I forgot to mention, make sure to get some thermal compound and just put a small little bead there. I forgot that step for the video here. And you can see there's a little bit there on the processor. That was because there was some already on the CPU fan. But I'm going to just show you a little bit here. You're just going to put a little dot, like so, just a tiny bit, don't put a lot. Put that there. And then let's put the fan on. That's the step you're supposed to do. Apologize for messing it up a little. I am not perfect, I'll tell you guys that right now. All right. Make sure these are turned outward. And you snap them into place. All right, and then go ahead and connect the CPU on the motherboard for the power. All right, and once you've done that, go ahead and grab your RAM here. You're going to place that in the appropriate slot on your motherboard. Red Panda Mining always recommends checking and making sure that you're putting it in the #1 slot. So that's what I've got here. I pulled this tab back there. You make sure that the slots line up appropriately, and then just make sure it slides in like that. And then it's gonna click into place and we've got our RAM installed. All right, so now let's slide in the motherboard here. Hopefully you guys can see it just fine. And let's go ahead and put in our screws. We're then going to put in the PSU here, the power supply, and we'll put that in next. Alright, so as you guys can see, I've got the motherboard here, I have the power supply here, okay? And we need to next plug in the CPU cable. So this is a VGA, as you can tell. That is going to be for the GPUs. Here is for the CPU. You can see if we can focus here. Right there, as you can see. Let's go ahead and plug that one in here on our rig so that we can power up the CPU. But go ahead and plug that in right here, if we can see it. Yeah, right there on the motherboard here. You know, plug it in like so, make sure it clicks in there, okay, right there where you can see it. And then let's feed this cable under here. It's weird doing it one-handed here. Alright. And then down low, it's kind of hard to see here with the light. We're then going to plug it. 1 second here. Now you guys can see on the PSU, there's going to be 2 slots here, one here and one here for CPU. The ports are different. You can't plug in the VGA cables there. Let's go ahead and plug in the proper CPU cable. Perfect, so we're in there. And then let's go ahead and plug in the power cord. And then I'll show you how to set up the SSD with HiveOS so that we can then make sure everything boots up appropriately, and we'll go from there. And one other thing I wanted to mention to you as well, I've got this handy dandy power button here. You're gonna go ahead and put it in, and you'll find it on your motherboard. It'll tell you where exactly, but we're gonna put it in the slots here. For the power button. And you'll see it on your manual, but that's where you plug it in for turning your motherboard off and on by manual, or by hand I should say. So go ahead and plug that in, and then one other cord here, and we'll hop on over to the SSD. Alright, and then I have a solid state Kingston drive here. We're gonna plug in this 90-degree angle into the motherboard, and then obviously this end here, the straight end, would plug into our SSD. But we'll plug in the cable right now, but then I'm gonna go take this on over to my computer and we'll get everything set up for HiveOS. Goes in right there. Right on that section, if you guys can see that, right there. All right guys, and what you're gonna do next here is you're gonna come over to hiveos.farm, come on over to install, and then this way here is how I've seen others do it on YouTube, so this is why I do it this way. There are multiple different ways to do this, but come on over to the GPU section, download the zip file, okay? Come on down and do Etcher. Go ahead and download for Etcher onto whatever, whether it's Mac or Windows, whatever OS you're using. And for the sake of the video here, I have actually already downloaded the zip file for the hard drive, but I've got my solid state plugged in here with my SATA to USB adapter. I'll put that link in the description. And then I'm just going to choose the file here, okay? We're going to see, there it is right there. That's the second one, it's re-downloading, but let's just choose this one right here. That's what I've already downloaded, okay? You're going to do select target. It's going to recognize the Kingston solid state drive. Do select, and then do flash. All right, and then it's going to do its thing here. I'm going to speed forward. There's no need to wait for this to be done flashing. I will show you what it looks like at the end. All right, and then you're gonna see that the flash is complete. So you have HiveOS on your solid state drive here. And then we can just come out of here. And then you're gonna come back to your HiveOS.farm, and we were just on the install page. So then you come into sign in, okay? And then I'm already signed in. I've created an account already, but you'll want to create an account. I'm gonna sign into my farm. Here is my farm here, and then I'm gonna create another worker. So I already have one right there. We're gonna make a second worker here, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. You're then going to come up to add worker at the top right. Select add rig because we're using GPUs. We're then going to install HiveOS on my rigs. And so this is a similar setup that I was already doing that I was showing you guys. They go through the steps here. But what we want to do here is we've already done the write HiveOS to USB or SSD. Then we're going to do the download the config file, so then this will allow the HiveOS platform to connect and communicate with my solid state drive with the rig. So we're going to do download that config file. So this is specific to this particular rig here that we're making. All right, and then it tells you to put it in the root directory of the device with the HiveOS firmware. So let me change computers here because I can't do it on my Mac. I'll do it on another laptop, and then I'll show you how to do it from there. All right, guys, so I'm on a Chromebook here, so it may look different on your PC, but just go to your hard drive that you have. You're gonna find that rig.config file. All right, and I'm gonna do copy. And then just copy and paste it onto the folder within the solid state drive here for Hive. As you can see, that file now is right there. So that is the file that will boot up everything and communicate with HiveOS. So I can see it through the browser. So let's just go ahead and eject everything because we're done. All right, and then remember how I showed you how to plug in this cable back in here for your hard drive. So you're gonna find it here on your solid state. I need to learn how to talk better here. You're gonna plug it in right there, all right? So that is what you're gonna plug in on the solid state. We need to also plug in here your power to go into the PSU over there. So let's do that right now. All right, let's come over to my box here. Let's find the appropriate connection. And that's SATA. All right, there we go. So you can see it says SATA there. Anyways, this is the SATA cable here that we're gonna use. You can see, you might see better over here, how it's got the SATA section here. We're gonna plug that in and then plug this into the PSU. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, so make sure we plug it in the appropriate way. There we go. And then this has to get plugged into the PSU like I said. Over here. And SATA, there we go. And then we do need to plug in here the hefty cable here to power the whole motherboard. All right, just to do a quick recap here. So I've got the keyboard and mouse plugged in. I've got my solid state here as well, plugged into the motherboard, but then also power going here to the power supply. I've got the main cable here to power up the whole motherboard, and also the CPU cable here as well, sorry, right there. We've got the RAM installed with the CPU as well, so we're all good, we're all connected. Also on the back here, I've got my Ethernet cable plugged in as well, so we're prepared there. And then let's go ahead and power this thing up, and then I'll show you what changes to make in the BIOS of the motherboard. This is based on Red Panda Mining's suggestions there. We'll see it on the display. So let's hop to it. Let's go ahead and power this bad boy on. Okay, everything's turning on like it should. Okay, things are coming up. Let's get the display to show here. There we go. Okay, so new CPU installed. Please enter setup to configure your system. Press F1 to run setup, all right? So let's go ahead and press F1. All right, so now we're inside here, and I'll do my best to keep things how they should be. All right, so, oh, I know what we gotta do. Here, hold on, I gotta work on my mouse here. It doesn't work on my table so well, hold on. All right, don't laugh at me. I got a cutting board here to give me some traction. It can't read it on the white table. So anyways, we're MacGyvering it today. We're gonna get this done here. All right, and once you pull up the BIOS here, come down to the bottom right where it says advanced mode. We're then going to make sure, you may come up here and it may show up in main, but make sure you're on the advanced tab here, okay? Come on down to System Agent SA Configuration. Go ahead and make sure, if you have 4G decoding, turn that on. I don't have that available here, but Red Panda Mining showed that on his system. Go make sure and you turn on that 4G decoding. And then come on down to graphics configuration. Make sure you go to the primary display is set to CPU graphics, not auto. You want CPU graphics there, okay. And then come on down to PEG port or PEG port configuration. We're gonna do link speed and make sure you do Gen 1, okay? It may be auto, it may already be on Gen 1, but go ahead and select that Gen 1 and we'll move forward from there, okay? And then let's come on back to the advanced section. Go on over to the PCH configuration, PCI Express configuration, and then the speed, just make sure that's on Gen 1 as well. All right, and then let's come back to advanced, get back to the advanced section here, okay. All right, and then once you've done that, come on down to onboard devices configuration. You can turn things off here like HD audio. We do not need that for mining, so do disabled. You can also do the LED lighting. It's on breathing mode. You can disable that as well because we don't need to worry about that when we're mining, okay? And then let's come back to advanced here. And the last one here is the, here we go, APM configuration. Do restore AC power loss. Do turn on. So that's there in case like your power goes out from a storm. This will boot up your mining rigs automatically. So go ahead and select that there as well. So those are the basic things you need to do. So then come on over to exit. You're going to save changes and reset. Okay, and then do okay. Perfect, there we go. And then if you ever want to, when it reboots here, if you ever want to get back into the BIOS setting, just smash the delete key constantly until it comes up into that BIOS settings like it should. But I'm gonna let this keep going forward here to show you what happens next here. All right, so it's running HiveOS here. So let me get back to show you the whole rig. All right, there you go. So now it is starting up HiveOS, as you guys can see. So Hive is working just fine. And then on my screen here on my laptop, I wanted to show you here within my actual farm, we should say. So this is the rig right here that we just set up, okay? So it detects it. It's showing that it sees the Prime Z490P ASUS motherboard. You got the CPU, so it's detecting that as well. We're good there. So everything is showing up appropriately as it should. The next thing I want to do here is I want to install a GPU so we can get a miner set up. So then you can see it show up here on the laptop. And then you can also see here, it will be churning and it will actually be mining Ethereum. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's set it up and I'll be right back. All right, and then what I'm doing here, I've got my riser here that I'm gonna connect, okay? So we're gonna have the USB cable plugged in right here on the USB slot. It's then gonna connect to the other section of the riser here, this little guy here. You're gonna plug that in to your motherboard. If you guys can focus, it'll focus here. There we go. Right here, it's gonna plug in just like so, like that. And then just make sure this notch here is outside. You'd never want to install it the other way around. You will mess your system up and might even fry your riser. Red Panda Maya said that is what happens. So make sure you have that notch out, facing out front. So that's going to go there right now. So let me connect everything. As you can tell, the riser is going to go right here on the GPU. But let me install everything here. I'll put it on the rig and then I'll point everything out to you. Also, one other thing I wanted to mention here on the riser, you're going to see this tab here that you can push back and forth, okay? So what you want to do is you're going to go with two hands here. You're going to place it in the appropriate slot. I like to put my hand down there as well. It's going to click in. So there we go. We have the riser in place, all right? And then let's go ahead and install it. All right, so I have it plugged in here, and then just make sure, this is one thing that Red Panda Mining recommended, is making sure you put it in the appropriate slot. So you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for each rig. Number 1, based on the manual, is right here on this slot. Make sure you put it in number 1 and everything's in correctly. That notch, make sure that notch is out there. You don't want to have it backwards and then fry the system. So let's go ahead and put that there. It's connected here. It comes under, as you can see, and then it plugs into the riser right there. All right, and then we're going to then plug in a PCIe cable right under here. If you can see it, you can barely see it. It's a 6-pin. It's going to go right in there. And then we're going to do a splitter right up here, and it'll go on top of the miner, okay? Then we'll run that on over here to our PSU to power the whole thing. So let me get those cables in place, okay? All right, so you're gonna get two different types of cables in your power supply from EVGA or even from other brands that are out there. You need to double and triple check what type of cables you're using. What you're gonna get here is, in terms of the EVGA, you're gonna get, for the standard 8-pin to, it's 8-pin, but it can split into a 2 and a 6. And then you're gonna get 2 of these same type, but you've also got a daisy chain aspect here, which is fantastic for GPU mining, because you're going to run that daisy chain down low and then have the other section up here with your splitter. So let's go ahead and install that, and then I'll show you what we need to do from there. All right, so now you can see it installed. We've got the GPU here. We've got the splitter coming around here. Then it's connected to this daisy chained 8-pin to, 8-pin, but it's a 6 into 2. Well, what we're doing here is I've connected it here, if you can see it here. I've plugged it in down low here under on the riser, okay? And then that comes around. Here into the splitter, all right? And then we follow the cable, and I've plugged it into the power supply in the VGA 1 port. Whatever you want to call it, but you can plug it into either one. It still gives you the power, but I just put it in one just because I wanted to. We also have the USB cable here plugging into, like I said, into the motherboard to connect that section there. So let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on, and let's see if it recognizes the GPU. Okay. Starting up there, which is great. HiveOS is starting up here. All right, there we go. HiveOS is booting up. CPU cooling fan is working as it should. There we go, Hive. All right. All right, it says no log for miner 1. That's okay. Let's go ahead and look at HiveOS on our laptop. All right, so going back into HiveOS here, we're gonna click on the actual rig that we are setting up. You can see now that it has detected that RX 6700 XT. We haven't set anything else yet up. It does need to be updated on the software. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's just do force upgrade and then reboot after complete. Upgrade. And so then sending the command on over to the rig here, you'll see it, it'll show up there on the monitor as well as it's gonna set up here in a second. All right, there we go. So now it's running HiveOS again. All right, there we go. So it says it loaded the one AMD driver, which is great. That's our GPU. Let's go ahead and click, let's do refresh here on the computer. Some other things that you need to do next here, you need to then do a flight sheet, and you also need to set your overclocking settings. But then also, if you haven't done so, you need to set up a wallet for where you're going to mine your Ethereum to. So let me show you those steps next. All right, guys, so I had some bad audio issues here, so I wanted to set things up again just to re-record and have it more clean audio here. So jump into your farm. When you create your farm, that's gonna hold your rigs. Open up that farm there, okay? And then you're going to see that worker that you had created where you're going to have your GPUs in that rig. So this is your rig, so this is what I set up here, all right? And what we're gonna do here is we're going to first, let's create our wallet, okay? So come back to your farm. You're then going to select wallets. All right, and then I already have one set up because I've already been using this with another rig, but I'm gonna click on add wallet over here to the right. And then you're going to select the type of cryptocurrency that you are going to be mining. And then from here, you put your address in, and this is not only where the payouts will be sent, but in this case, if you're using Ethermine, you'll also use that address to see and track the data of your mining rig, so you can see the valid shares, the invalid shares, or stalled shares, as they say. But you'll put that address there, okay? You can use a name for that particular source of that wallet, and then of course you can select, okay, where is this, what type of wallet is this? So let's say we're using Coinbase, you're right there. Or let's say you're doing Binance, you select that as well. You can then use this across all of your mining rigs that you have, make it a global wallet or just for this one setup. You can also do fetch wallet balance. I don't do that. I just leave it as it is here with the address, the name, and then the source. Okay, so then you're gonna click create. I'm not doing that because I don't need to for myself. Then come on over here back to our workers. Let's go ahead and click on our particular worker or our rig, okay? And then let's click on flight sheets, all right? And then I already have one here that I was using, but let's do a brand new one here, okay? So let's, I guess we need to go to flight sheets page itself, all right? And then we're gonna create a new flight sheet, so just for fun here. So we're gonna be doing Ethereum. We're then going to come over here and select the wallet that we have set up. The pool, what pool are we gonna do? Well, for this video, I'm gonna do Ethermine because that is one I'm familiar with right now currently. I tried F2 pool, but I like Ethermine's data that I'm seeing. And also the payout threshold, you can modify that, which I love, okay? So then we're also gonna select what section or pool server that we're most close to here. We're gonna just stay with East. There's no need to have East and West. Let's keep it simple, and then apply. Come on over here to miner. So these are different settings you have available to mine with. I have just been using the Team Red miner because all I have is AMD cards. I do have one NVIDIA card, but all my stuff is AMD. So I'm just using Team Red miner. It makes it super easy. Others are using Phoenix miner, and I'm curious to see what you guys are using. Leave them in the comments below. I'd be curious to hear what you guys are using and how successful you are as opposed to, say, Team Red miner. So let me know, put them in the comments. Be more than happy to see what you guys are coming up with here. All right, and then you're then going to name it here. So let's just do a test name, okay? And then create flight sheet. All right, so now it's created. You can see it right down here at the bottom. Okay, here is the one that I have created. You can also see a test one that I did for F2 pool. And then let's go back to our workers here. Okay, let's go to our test rig. All right, and so then flight sheets. All right, so then we can see that flight sheet that we created is right down here. And the best way that you can get it started up is you just click on that rocket icon, and then it will start it up for you. But what else I want to do here is I want to put in my overclock settings, because right now we haven't put anything in. So I've got them written down here of what I like to use. Let me grab them real quick. All right, and then keep in mind here, guys, these settings I'm putting in here on my own. It's what I've found through other videos on YouTube. I've tested a little bit to see what works, what doesn't work, and they work really well for what I'm doing. I still need to tweak things because I know that I'm still new to this, so keep in mind, like, these are just my settings. They are not the end-all be-all. They're not like the top-of-the-line best settings to use. I am curious what you guys are using to make your 6700s profitable and just more efficient. So here's what you can do. You can also come on over to popular presets and you can select ETH and then just do the drop down for the GPU that it recognizes which one you have plugged in, and then it will give you several different options here of what people are using, and you can, you know, test them out, see what other people are doing, and see what setting best works for you. But that's not what I use. I'm gonna go ahead and do this here on the core clock, and then core voltage 650. We're gonna do the memory clock at 1075. Fan at 50, but I'm gonna show you another setting here in a second, what I use to allow the fan to change based on keeping the CPU, no, it's not CPU, the GPU at a certain level, a temperature level. So I put 50 in there. It doesn't need to be in there, but I just had it in there from past settings I was using before. All right, and then let's go down to frequency here. We're gonna do 600, and then the VDD max is gonna be 1250. So I am curious what you guys would put on your overclock settings. So there we go. So we've got it there. It's being updated as we speak. And then let's come on over to our flight sheet. All right, and then I'm gonna do the rocket. Click that. Notice that's fine. Don't worry about that. Apply. It's applying right now. And then you're gonna see here on. We're starting back up here, getting everything set up to start mining. It's running the algorithm there. If you come back down to my laptop here, let's do a refresh. All right, so you can see all my settings are here, okay? You can see that the fan speed is about 48%. Temperature is about 34 and 42, but it's reading it that it's there. And then you can see right here on the monitor that it is mining Ethereum right now as we speak, which is pretty cool. So right there, it's going through the whole algorithm and doing everything it's supposed to do. All right, and that one aspect I was gonna show you here in terms of the auto fan settings. So come up to the auto fan settings at the top right. Okay, you're gonna see a critical temperature set at 90. I'll just keep it there. The critical action is to stop the miner, reboot, or shut down. I have stopped the miner. You're then going to do auto fan on, okay? And then the target core temp, I have it set to 52 Celsius based on what other people have been posting online in YouTube. I would be curious to hear what you guys think here as well in terms of these settings. But we're gonna go with 52, that is what works for me. We're gonna do a target memory temp of 90. We're gonna do minimum fan speed of 25 and max fan speed, man, I can't talk, of 100%, okay? So then let's do apply. The command is being sent. And then, so what you'll notice here is that, yes, the fan speed, this will change. So it can sometimes, if for whatever reason the GPU needs to be cooled down, it could go up to 70, but that typically after it's been mining for a while, I see it around more like 30, 32%, and it stays there. And then the core temp, it usually hovers around 50, 51 degrees, right where I'm wanting it to be. So let's go ahead and refresh here. All right, so you can see that the mega hash right now is 46.55. I am curious what you guys are getting right now with your 6700s in your overclock settings. So I'm only using 90 watts on my rig for this one miner, this one GPU, I should say. You can see here, okay, so here, look at this. So now the fan speed is at 36%. Your core temp is 37. And let me show you here, your core temp is 37, the memory temp is at 50, okay? So it will go higher, the longer it stays on, it will go higher. But I've seen the fan speed stay right around this, 32, 36%. My basement is somewhat cooler, so that does help. But this is where I'm comfortable with, where I'm seeing with these miners, and it's doing well here. So that is how you set your auto fan settings. You can see, once again, let's just look up here. So it is mining Ethereum right now on the system. It's doing great. It's doing that one GPU. Now, let me stop the video here real quick because I want to give you an explanation of what I'm dealing with these cables here. I used, as you know, on the one GPU, okay? I had that daisy chain that came off, and I also had the splitter. So it's basically we had three ends coming off, two on the top, one on the bottom for the riser, okay? Well, this EVGA power supply only comes with two of those particular cables. And then they have four of the normal, shall we say 8-pin to 8-pin that can split here, but there's no daisy chain. And that has really hampered me setting up this rig appropriately. Because I'm doing two rigs, I can swap out cables, but that's not what this video is for. I want to show you how to set up your rig without having two rigs. Say you only want to build one. Well, I don't want you to have to go out and buy two power supplies just so you have enough cables. So I will say that is one thing I'm working on myself. I thought I had the proper cables to have everything set up appropriately, but they weren't working. So I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna get this video out. I'm gonna get it done. You guys can learn from my mistakes. You can learn from what I'm doing. I will get more set up so you can see what it looks like with more than one GPU. But I do know in my head and on paper what type of cables I need. It would be fantastic if they had, 6 of the ones with the daisy chain coming off. If they had 6 of those, that'd be fantastic, but they don't. They only have 2 with the EVGA 1200 P2. I even tried one other power supply, and while they did have 4 of those daisy chains, you also had to use one of the VGA ports for the CPU. So it was just like, okay, I'm stuck with not having enough ports for all 6 GPUs. So like I said, I'm doing research. I'm finding those cables, and anyways, enough of me talking, but please do your research. Just like Red Panda Mining says, check your cables, check your power supply online, make sure that you have enough cables and enough connections with your splitters to make everything work appropriately. I thought I did, obviously I didn't, and so what I'm doing now is I am researching to find, okay, where are those ATX power cables that I can use? If you guys know where they are, if you know what I need to purchase, put them in the comments below. Don't put links because I instantly have an algorithm that deletes links in comments, but leave the name and I'll do the research on Amazon or Newegg or wherever it may be. But yeah, so anyways, I did want to do a quick little chat here about these cables and how these, just the basic, 8-pin to 8-pin aren't working appropriately how I need them. It would be great to have that daisy chain and have it for all 6 miners. It'd be super easy. I did go on the manufacturer's website and they are sold out. So anyways, enough of that. Let's move forward. I'm gonna show you what it looks like with more GPUs on the rig, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, and I wanted to show you here real quick, before I get all the GPUs set up, I did want to show you how to properly shut down your miners in your rig here when you do any changes. Come on over here to miner actions. You're gonna do stop miner, and you can see the command is being sent. And so then what you're gonna do is it's now shutting down the GPU. You want that to sit for 2 to 3 minutes so that it can cool down before you shut the whole rig down. I've seen a lot of guys talk about this. You know, it's a safe way to shut down your rig so that you don't have any problems with heat issues in your GPUs and throwing anything off on the rig. So just do that, let it sit for about 2 to 3 minutes, if longer if you want, and then shut down the whole rig, okay? All right, so as you can see, I've waited about just over 3 minutes here. Now to shut the whole rig down, you're gonna go to Power Actions, then do Shutdown, and then Confirm. All right, so then the command is being sent. It's gonna shut down the whole rig, and then we can go and update everything here on the rig. All right, so as you can see, the fans are moving appropriately to keep the core temperature around 50. We're mining there on the monitor, and I'm gonna set more GPUs up here in 3, 2, and there we go. So I've got all 5 GPUs set up. Like I said, I can't do 6 right now because of the lack of proper cabling that I have. So I've got to figure out a solution here, but I did want to show you here. Next, we're gonna set up the fans. I'm gonna put those on as well before we turn things on. We're gonna connect with this Molex cable here. But then I also wanted to show you, I got these 2 risers being powered by a Molex here. So as you can see here, let's see if we can focus. There we go. Yep, so I've got a Molex here running underneath over to this riser as well. I know it's really hard to see, guys, I apologize, but from there it goes over to there, and then it comes into the power supply over in here. So that is how I'm powering up 2 risers with a Molex. So I've got the 2 daisy chained cables, which I love. Then I've got a separate line for a riser, separate line for the GPU, and then over here I have separate lines for each GPU, and then of course the Molex spanning the 2 there. So that is how I'm getting 5 GPUs on this rig. Like I said, I'm working on getting more cables to do 6. If you guys have a solution for me, let me know in the comments below. It'd make my job a whole lot easier, but I'll keep doing research. I'll find out what I need to do. But yeah, before we turn this bad boy on, let's go ahead and put on those fans. All right, and because I'm working on this, I wanted to show you why it's important to do the fans before you put the GPUs on. So I'm having to actually pull the GPUs off here to put the fans in. And just do it on the rig first before you start setting everything up. I should have done that beforehand, but hey, here's where we're at right now. But then also too, you got to see how the fans are. The idea is to pull the heat away from these back of the GPUs. So at least with these Arctic fans that I have, the logo is facing in so that it can pull away the heat. I can't see my hand. So it can pull away the heat from the rig. So because you don't want to blow the air across the GPU, a lot of the heat is going to be over here. You want to pull that heat out from the GPU, all right? So that's how I'm setting up these fans. Do it on the rig when you set the rig up, even before the motherboard. Just get the fans on first. I should have done that myself, but hey, anyways, here's where we're at. All right, and then let me finish this out here, and we'll move on to the next stage. All right, so now you can see I have the Molex plugged in here. That goes on over to the fans. Let's walk on over here. So you see, then I have I'll have this in the link in the description. It's a Molex splitter here, and that allows me to connect it to the fans, okay, which then I just have it all connected above on the top here, so that all the fans here are all connected and they're doing the right thing. So the fans are now connected. Now we can go and we can turn everything on. So let's come back over here. Okay. Right there. All right, and let's go ahead and turn this puppy on. Okay. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all on. Awesome. And our fans, as you can see, are moving right along in the background as well. It's awesome. I can feel the airflow over here. We've got Hive going on the monitor. It's turning on. So we're looking good so far, guys. So we're doing good so far. So let's do this. All right. So it's detecting the GPUs here. Okay. Let's go on over to our laptop here. Let's refresh. All right, sweet. So now it's detecting 5, which is awesome. All right, so it's mining for sure, as you can see up there on the monitor. But it looks like I have a card that is not reading properly. It could be with my Molex connector. It could be because of that. It could be a riser. So let me do some troubleshooting here. I'm refreshing the page again. Let's refresh here. I'll have to do some troubleshooting to see what's going on here. So anyways, we've got 4 of the 5 up and running, and they're actually mining. I got to figure out what's going on with this other one here. So it looks like, yeah, I might know which one it is. But anyways, I'll get it figured out. But that is how you set things up there. You can see we've got power here to all of them. They are running, except it looks like this one here. I got to do something with this one. It could be my Molex. But anyway, so we've got things running, guys. You can see here we've got the algorithm going, and of course here we got our screens. You can say, you know, it reads that I have 5. I have 5 GPUs. I just got to figure out what's going on with that one card. So it can read that there are 5 cards there. I don't know what's going on with that one. It's something I need to figure out on my end. It could be the fact that it is on the Molex. That could be what's going on. I could, it may not be properly plugged in. The risers are all lit up just fine. So let me do some research. Let's see what's going on there. All right, guys, so I did figure out what was going on there. We are mining just fine. We're reading all 5 cards here, or GPUs, just fine here on the system. We're getting about 46.5 mega hash here. As you can see, all 5 are reading just fine. And the issue was here is actually not the Molex, you know, so how I connected these last 2 with Molex down here. The issue was I had the Molex cable plugged in into the wrong port. It needed to be put in the SATA port. So once I did that, I know probably, you know, a stupid move. You guys probably wouldn't do that yourselves, but once I got it in the SATA port, or SATA port here on the power supply, things were just fine and everything's running just how it should be. All 5 cards are going just fine. Like I said, we're mining away there on the monitor, as you can see. And then of course here on HiveOS, let's just refresh one more time. Yeah, there we go. So we're doing great. So temperatures are where they should be. We're seeing our wattage here around 91 to 95 watts here. The fans are all at different speeds, percentages, because they're keeping each GPU at the proper temperature around that 52 Celsius temperature. So there we go. So that is how you get everything set up. But yeah, so here it is. Here we've got 5 GPUs. I do want to get a 6th here on the rig, but I'm pretty happy with things how they are. Everything's going just fine. We're plugging away, and what I can do here is I can actually unplug the monitor. I actually don't need the mouse or the keyboard anymore. Things are going just fine, and I can monitor the rig from here on out on HiveOS. So that is A beautiful thing with HiveOS is that you can just monitor everything from your phone or from your laptop, and you don't have to have another monitor plugged in to each rig. I can set this on my shelving system and get it out of the way, and then it'll be, you know, permanently mining just fine. Fingers crossed to make sure that nothing happens. But as long as I keep everything updated, we'll do just fine. We're mining just fine here, and so that is how you set up at least 5 GPUs. I want 6, but 5 GPUs here for you guys with the proper cables here in that EVGA 1200 P2 system here. So this is one of those videos where I don't know everything. I'm sharing with you this journey that I'm on. It's exciting. I'm loving setting everything up and then also troubleshooting how to make things work appropriately and work correctly. If you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. Usually it's you guys asking me questions on how to set up your Nano S or your Nano X or your TREZOR. But maybe the community might have some great solutions for me to get my rig set up how it should be. It would be easy if I could just buy more cables from EVGA, put them on there, and then be done. But I know there are some other solutions out there. Weirdly enough, the Molex option was not working for me. I wonder if it was just pulling too much wattage out of those two risers. But anyways, if you guys have any suggestions, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.